welcome to What's Up Life Science, a series where we invite voices from a cluster life science to share their stories with us. And today we have chosen Sprint Bioscience, a very innovative biotech company sitting in Flemingsberg Life Science Cluster, focusing on fragment-based drug discovery. And I have with me here the CEO of Sprint Bioscience, Johan Emilsson. Very welcome, Johan.
Thank you very much.
Could you please tell us a little bit about what Sprint actually does for those who are new?
So Sprint Bioscience is a company that's focusing on the very early stage of the drug discovery pathway and creating new drug discovery programs that we also bring into early preclinical studies. So we are, in the very early stage. We would call ourselves an asset creation company. We create a number of assets that we're then looking for partnerships to, bring through the regulatory phases and eventually to the market.
So you discover, you validate, and then you partner, right?
Exactly.
And what is fragment-based drug discovery, and why is it such a powerful approach?
Well, for us, it's a way of working, a modus operandi that we saw very early that this has some very critical components of making high potent and very selective small molecules. So what it essentially is that you start from instead of making a big screen of ready molecules or finding a certain molecule that you see has an effect. We're taking a very structured approach of how to do it. So instead of having bigger molecules that we start with smaller starting blocks that we then can build into highly potent and selective molecules.
And for that, you have a global network, you have very specialized competence internally. So what is your business model and why are you focusing on the preclinical and not taking the candidates the whole way to the market?
We built a very specific set of competences here in Flemingsberg, where we have cell biologists, protein chemists, we have structural biology, we have medicinal chemistry, and we have computational chemistry. And for us, that's, we built an innovation hub here. And we are, instead of taking things further into the clinic, we've decided we want to be excellent in what we're doing. That's what we're building here. It's building excellence. So instead of taking the bigger bets and bringing things into the clinic, we see that we are really good at this early part of it. And if we want to move into clinic, first and foremost, it's very much more capital intense. But it also means that we need to add other skill sets. And we've now proven a number of times that we can actually find partners really early in the drug discovery and preclinical stage of the pharmaceutical development. That means that instead of moving and transitioning the company into different stages and different phases, we can actually reinvest in the people we have here and securing that we have excellence in the people we have on site here in Flemingsberg.
And we will actually there and visited some of your expertise. Let's take a look at that and come back.
All right.
Today we are going to visit one of the promising public biotech companies in our cluster, Sprint Bioscience.
Welcome to Sprint.
Hey, hello, thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for passing by.
Oh my God, this is a huge space. How many people are you here?
We're a little bit north of 30 people working in our labs. So we'll give you the tour and show you some of the cool places we have and where our science happens.
So you have many different labs here.
We have a number of different labs. So we have everything from protein chemistry, structural biology. We're standing outside of our cell biology lab, and we'll shortly also show you our medicinal chemistry labs.
That sounds really interesting. Let's see what you have to show.
All right, so let's head down this way, and then Johan will continue to show you some of our labs.
So now I can go and visit Johan Lindström, the Director of Medical Chemistry in the chemical lab. And I have been told that I need to use these glasses. So let's see. Hello, Johan.
Hey, Natasha.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you so much.
Good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. We are in the chemical lab, right?
Yeah, this is where we do the chemistry. This is one of our labs.
What exactly happens here? Is it like the molecules are being discovered here or produced here? What happens?
So we produce the compounds here. So on a molecular level, we design the best optimal fit to the target protein that we're working on.
Could you tell us a little bit what are the small molecules?
So we work with heterocyclic compounds, so compounds that then eventually will become a drug. And we optimize the properties of these compounds so that they will survive in your metabolic system and so on. So.
Is it correct to say they are like small Lego molecules?
Kind of, absolutely. That's one way of thinking about it. So we design, we attach different parts of the compound, and then we have the computational chemist that will help us to predict if this design is likely to work or not.
So you can actually see the molecules in the 3D in the computational lab, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it possible to take a look at that one as well?
Absolutely, we can just pan over here and visit Lars.
Thank you so much. So next I'm gonna meet Lars Boukharta-Persson, who is the principal scientist and computational chemist. Hello, Lars.
Hi, Natasha.
Thanks for receiving me.
Yeah,
so tell me, what is happening in this room?
Yeah, in this room we use the protein structures that we have collected with experiments in the computer to model and build the molecules that you want to synthesize in the lab. Yeah, and this is, you see, it's a pocket in the protein and you want to fill it up as good as possible to have a molecule that binds as good as possible.
So what is the molecule you have here? Which protein is it?
This is the adenosine receptor and the small molecule is caffeine.
So interesting. Thank you so much for showing me this and this was really, really interesting. So
yeah, welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So a notable validation of your deal-making model was the scale of T-Rex-1 cancer program to Gilead, with $14 million upfront and potential milestones up to 400. What made that program partner ready? Because this was not the first time you actually made a deal. You had the Day One Pharmaceutical as well long before.
Yeah, I would say this is not, where you're mentioning Day One and the Gilead deal. We've actually made 6 deals over the course of the history of the company. So what it makes, I mean, when we are making programs within the company, we're trying to secure that we're doing that to the quality that it should essentially to any pharmaceutical company be like, this should be as good or better as if it came from their own discovery unit. And that's kind of, the quality we're working towards. And that is also what actually makes it possible to partner this early. We're working exclusively on first-in-class targets. I think that's a key part of it, to make sure that it holds a scientific height that someone is willing to invest into. But I would say it's also the quality of the chemistry program and everything that comes around it. What people might not understand is that it's not only one molecule. It's a full chemical program that these companies are then either acquiring or licensing. And so that it's a very good and solid starting point of then putting that into another company that has the regulatory competencies, so pulling it through the regulatory phase of the non-clinical part, and then eventually clinical and passing through clinical, regulatory, and then market.
But how do you decide which biological target are worth building a program on?
I mean, we have a number of ways of finding good quality targets that we see has a good commercial potential. It's everything from we have a very good understanding of where the landscape is moving. We're making sure that we are attending the right conferences to see what's coming up and what's happening. But it's also part of the things we're doing in the cell biology lab is very close to basic research. And we see and find things there as well, where we find that this pathway or this specific protein should be of interest.
You have a pretty broad pipeline right now. Would you like to share with us?
Absolutely. So we're working on a number of different targets. We're working partly in the immuno-oncology space, where we're modulating the immune system, where TREX-1 was one of those programs. We're working a little bit within something called synthetic lethality, which is an up-and-coming and really interesting space to be in. We're also looking at things that modulate the microenvironment around the tumor, where we have, for example, our NNMT program.
You have also mentioned in your earlier interviews that beside the acquirement and partnership, there are other possibilities for investors to look into Sprint Bioscience. Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. So one of the benefits of being able to operate a bigger portfolio of assets is that we can be somewhat agnostic in how we find a partnership. So the standard or the historical way of doing it is you start looking for someone who's willing to license your know-how, your IP. Another way could then be the deal like we did with Gilead, where someone actually acquires a program. But what we're seeing at the moment as well is there are some venture capital. Being a listed company, we don't have access to the standard VC track, so the venture capital part of it. But we also see that any of our programs could essentially be a starting point for a company. It's a good quality discovery and early preclinical program that someone else could then bring forward in another vehicle. And we're doing that as well as we're looking at, we built a modus operandi within the organization where people are, have the opportunity as well to come and suggest targets where we could cooperate.
So spin-outs together with VC?
Spin-outs together could be one of them.
Very interesting. So for someone who is considering buying shares in Sprint, or for VCs who want to take a look at Sprint Bioscience, why should one follow Sprint and invest in it? So
I think, the company is, has a different business model than many other biotechs. I think that in part is an interesting way of, looking at the company. We've shown, repeatedly that we can make deals and make partnerships happen. We have state-of-the-art, scientific programs. And we have, Gilead acquired and paid a significant amount for one of our programs. We still retain 5 others, and we have a pre-pipeline that we're willing and looking for to mature as well, to continue to do that. So we have some exciting times ahead.
And my last question, where will Sprint Bioscience be in 5 years?
That's very hard for me to say, but I see we're in a really good position to continue to build. We're in this for the long run. And we're not looking for an obvious one-off exit. We are building a company, and we're continuing to be a high growth company that continues sustainably can generate revenues for our shareholders.
Thank you so much, Johan, for being here, and thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you.